Let the record show that the regular Riverview City Council meeting was called to order on December 4th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Will the clerk please take roll?
Councilmember Ganaga? Here. Councilmember O'Neill?
Here.
Councilmember Prey?
Here.
Councilmember Robbins?
Here.
Mayor Swift?
Here.
Councilmember Webb?
Here.
Councilmember Workman?
Here.
Tonight we have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Webb and the invocation by Councilman O'Neill. Will you please rise? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Precious Lord, we thank you for our many blessings, and we ask that you might bless our elected officials in their decision-making matters to the best of our community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that. Jeff, do you have any announcements?
Yes, Your Honor, we do. We have a couple announcements. Recreation, Mr. Todd Dickman.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to let people know that we will have judges out for our holiday decorating contest as usual for the holiday season. So judges will be out either late this week, early next week, and then we will let people know if they won, and we'll be presenting awards on the next full council meeting on the 18th. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Your Honor, and our Budget and Finance Director, Ann.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to let everyone know that taxes did go out this weekend, so you should have gotten them in your mailbox. If you did not get one in your mailbox, please do not hesitate to Treasurer's Office, and we'll get you one down. Also, just so everyone can be aware, this year we sent a tax bill to every taxpayer. So as in the past, people who had a mortgage, the tax bill on it would say do not pay. This is a mortgage company. So that did not happen this year with the printers. So we are assuring you that we will send a copy of your bill to the printer and usually they all pay in December, and come right in January, we're going to check all those properties to make sure that those companies did get paid. So, and again, if you have any questions about your bill, regarding your bill, please do not hesitate to call.
Thank you.
Your Honor, and
Yes.
just to let you know, we've also posted a memo on our Facebook page and city website, so people can refer there if they need additional information on their tax bills.
Thank you, Jeff. And I just have a quick one. I wanted to acknowledge Solo World Partners on Pennsylvania. We've noticed they redid the whole front of the easement right along Pennsylvania Road there. Looks really nice, and I just wanted to say, they did a great job in beautifying the city up. So thank you. With that, we have the approval of the minutes of the 11/20/23 regular organizational Riverview City Council meeting and the condensed version for publication. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman O'Neill, supported by Councilwoman Ganaga. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Prey?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Webb?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Today we have no public hearings. Now's the time for public comment. But before I give my little speech, I would like to have State Senator Camilleri come down to the microphone and introduce himself. It's good to see you, Darren.
Great to see you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Congratulations to the newly elected council members, and welcome to your new term of service. My name is Darren Camilleri, proudly serving Senate District 4, which includes the city of Riverview, as well as many of the downriver communities, Wyandotte, Southgate, Riverview, to Van Buren, Belleville, Wayne, and Romulus, and South. So everything in that southern Wayne County portion. Proud resident of the city of Trenton, so I'm your neighbor across the street. Very good to see you all. I just wanted to stop by and say hello and be present to hear a little bit about what's going on in the city. Happy to stick around afterwards to check in individually as well, but just wanted to remind everybody that my office is here to serve and to help in any capacity that we can, whether it's solving a city issue or solving a state issue. In particular, a lot of state cases that my staff and I try to solve, whether it's tax issues or unemployment or any other kind of challenge with the state agency, you can feel free to reach out to my office at any time. I just really wanted to come say hello, and I look forward to continuing our work together as we head into 2024.
Thank you. It's good seeing you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, we don't get that often. All right, now it's time for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the mayor and council, please approach this podium, state your name and address for the record. Try to keep your comments to 5 minutes. Remember, there is no sharing of time and no rebuttals, and please be respectful. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words tonight. My name is Don Smith, and I'm a resident of the city for 30 years. First, I'd like to say congratulations to the mayor on your reelection to the council as mayor to this wonderful city of ours. I would also like to congratulate our newest members to the council, Mr. Brian Webb, Mr. Dave Prey, and the reelection of Councilwoman Ms. Susan O'Neill, and all the council members. Congratulations to all. I speak on behalf of myself, and I'm sure I echo the many concerns of the residents of this city, that now that the election has come to a conclusion, I pray and hope that this council can set aside their differences going forward and come together as one body in an effort and a positive change in the governing of the city on behalf of its residents who have elected you to be here today. With that, I thank you very much for the time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Good evening, council and Mr. Mayor.
Good to see you.
Darren Sinsat, 17820 Brinson Street, Riverview, Michigan. And since we were gone, everybody had a great Thanksgiving, I hope, and pray that you ate enough and had a good time. I want to bring something to attention. Facts are stubborn things. Whatever they may be to our wishes or indications and our passions, they cannot be altered to state on the facts of the evidence. A lot of times we override things. Council, you finally got, after over 20 years not having quarterly financial reports, we ran a city illegally not having them. I got to ask you a bold question. Some shake your head. No, it needs to be done. And finally, we got it where we're getting quarterly financial reports. Was there, in the quarterly financial reports, was there a part about the attorney's fees paid out in those quarterly financial reports? I think they were not put in the quarterly financial reports. And I really wonder why. We need to have clear and transparent government. Remember, this government is not yours, it's ours. And I'm not going to get off of that one either. We need to see where the money's going. It's called the vendor reports to see where money's being disposed. I understood that the landfill is a headache for us because of what's going on. We've got three major headaches: the landfill, the golf course, and Arkema. I did some study for Arkema to find out something. The University of Texas A&M did a simple study to prove, Brian, this is up your areas, and I'll partner with you later, and Rita. They did a study planting watermelons. Watermelons absorbs water from the ground, and they'll show you the contaminants. You cut the vines will show you what's in it. For 40 years, this city has allowed contaminated property to sit there, right next to, either we don't like Lloyd Carr or we do. I guess you understand my pun in that. Our kids play baseball there. Don't tell me that chain link fence separates the ground where it runs off of. And y'all feel the same way I do. And I'm sure glad our representative from the state's here to hear this, because we've been beaten on Washington for it, and Debbie Dingell says, go ahead and get an investor, get this going, and now they want to dredge the river and put it on our property and let it sit and air out for 2 years over my dead body. It's not going to happen. We're going to stop that. That's not ethical. And that's what they want to do to our city. And it's in your district, and I appreciate you being here, Representative, but we got to open this thing up, and we've got to find a way to stop it. We need to find out where the money's going, and then we need to hire a lawyer outside just to represent this and file a lawsuit against the EPA. We got to stop this because they think they're going to be able to do it. My wife has cancer, and she worked at Riverside Hospital. Riverside Hospital, when they got to the bottom, they found mercury, high level, and it was coming from the river. This is being recorded. If you eat fish out of the river here, join my wife. Join my friends, my neighbors. One of them just died. We got an emergency here, folks. This is not something that's in the sweet by and by. This is here now. And people are getting sick, and we got to stop it, okay? But I'm saying to you tonight, council, you got something coming before you. You're supposed to be educated before you vote on something. Why wasn't this brought to study on asking for the 2% on the loan? I'm bringing that before you. Thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Ken Kyleman, 20243 Coachwood. Over the last few months, I've heard numerous people, both in these chambers and on social media, speak of the need to audit the city's books or audit one fund or another. And I'm sure that the concerns that were stated were genuine and sincere, but I also believe that there's a general lack of understanding as to what exactly an auditor does as it relates to our city's finances. For those people who are concerned about our finances and are interested in seeing firsthand some of what our outside independent auditors do, I'd like to invite you to attend the meeting of the Ad Hoc Audit Committee, which I believe is made up of the Mayor, Councilman Workman, Chief Allen, and our Treasurer. They'll be meeting with representatives from our independent outside auditor, Plant Moran, who will be presenting the findings of our annual audit for the fiscal year ending on June 30th, which I believe has recently been completed. And unless there's been a change that I'm unaware of, the meeting will take place next Monday at 6 o'clock across the hall, and the public is welcome and invited. This is a great time to hear some of the details of our city's finances that you might not hear anywhere else. And if you're at all interested in these matters, I'd encourage you to attend and participate. And Mayor Swift, if you'd like to correct or expand upon anything I just said, please do. Thank you.
I'll be honest, that's the first I heard of the meeting's next Monday, because I didn't get the agenda yet. But, no, I agree with Mr. Kyleman, and I think well, Jeff, you can probably help me out on this. We're audited every year, correct? Don't we have Plant Moran? I mean, our books are audited?
Yes, Your Honor, that is true.
All right. Anybody else?
Good evening, I'm Randy Upton. I live on Mulberry Street in Riverview. There's an old saying out there that's used a lot, and I think it fits in with a lot what's going on in this town. I'm sure everybody's heard sooner or later chickens come home to roost, and it appears that they're starting to come home to Riverview. We want to borrow money from sewer funds, the golf course, and borrow this from the practice facility, and we got all this money shuffling around the city. My question is, that's fine. We can dance around it, but eventually we got to have a plan that's going to change the way things are in this town. Now, we got 40 acres on Sibley Road for sale. That's what I heard, okay? But I've never heard, if anybody's interested, you guys should be talking that up. I don't see any signs over there, okay? I made a suggestion, take 100 acres from the golf course, add it to that, and start getting serious. And let us know we're changing what we're doing here from the old ways. No more do we have to listen to, well, Randy, we can't do anything, and as long as companies come in here and pollute our land, as long as they pay their property taxes, that's okay. I heard that from a mayor. Not this mayor, but I heard from previous mayors. They did nothing. So for 20 years, we made a bet on the golf course. Golf course days are over, and we're still spending money on the damn place. You know, it's time to wipe that out. Don't think about it. Don't make statements. Never say never. Let's start doing some things here for a change, okay? We got people coming in here making comments about Arkema, polluted properties. Do we know what's next door to Lloyd Carr Park in that ground there? Do we know? The city should know. You guys should know that. That's critical. We just can't sit here and blind eye it. Arkema took off. Arkema must know what's out there. They blew out of town quick as they could. Now they're down in East St. Louis getting ready to pollute it down there. So that's an example. How many people have to come up here and ask questions and never get any answers? I'm the biggest cheerleader of Riverview. I think Riverview is great. That's why I bought a house here. But things are starting to slide quite a bit. And I'm praying to God that with some new council people, new ideas will come and grow, and we can start taking a look at the way we do business in this town. Because the way it's going now, the state will come in here and you all take a pay cut. So that's where I'm at with this, and I hope the new council members, are openly vocal about it, and we can speak back and forth at these type of meetings. We're getting more people in the crowd here. So the old days of having a council meeting and nobody coming up here to say anything, looks like those days are going to be over. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Jared Coyne, 18160 Brentwood Drive. So last time I was up here, I talked about term limits, and I'm curious, after this is done, if any of you want to give me any feedback on it. I'm open to ideas, but what I was thinking of was if I can get 5 votes on council to put it on the ballot for the general, I was thinking if you have column A and column B, city council, column A, mayor, column B, no more than 3 terms in either, but a total cap of 5 terms. So you could do 2 as council, 3 as mayor, or 3 on council, 2 as mayor. 20 years is plenty of time. I think it's the only way to help make this city better. Generally, term limits it depends on the place that you're in, right? As far as this state, I don't know, this state's been in the toilet forever. It really has, let's just be honest. I mean, they never let go of that British Fabian model of Marxism that they had since the late 1800s, and maybe it's helped alleviate the pressure a little bit, but I don't think it's really done much. But, the proof is young people are moving out of the state, so we can watch all our kids leave as we all sit here and grow old. But I really want to know what you guys think about term limits, specifically for this city. I think it's a small city, and I think that it's had a lot of the same people, and all things go back decades and decades, and it's just time for something new. And in the off chance that nobody wants to run, which I really don't see that happening anymore, but let's say it does happen, you could run as a write-in still, regardless of the term limits, the way I will write this, and you can win. So it shouldn't be a problem. So that concern that I know some people have would be taken off of the table. So if everyone goes back to sleep like they used to be and no one wants to run and you're all term limited out, well, get you and a couple of your friends to write your name on the ballot and you'll be back up here. So if anyone has any questions, you all know where to find me. So I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll move on. We have no organizational business tonight. Is there any item council wants removed from the consent agenda?
Your Honor,
Councilman Ganaga.
I'd like to have 9.2 removed for discussion, please.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right. 9.1, approve special events application from Strides for Adam 5K run using city property on Sunday, March 24th, 2024. 9.3, Budget Amendment A. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Ganaga, supported by Councilwoman O'Neill. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Yes.
Councilman Ganaga, 9.2, approved interfund loans from Water and Sewer Fund to Land Preserve and Golf Course. Councilwoman Ganaga, what was your concern with that one?
I just wanted Jeff's explanation on why we're getting the interest rates and moving the money, just so everyone can get some background on it.
Jeff?
Your Honor, to Councilmember Ganaga, I'm going to let Ann answer this first, but I'm going to help her out should she need my help. She's been working directly with Plant Moran on this. But I will preference this as this is a actual document that creates a loan and puts the monies on the books. Previously, they're in just in count of due to, due from. It's an inter-count transaction. So Anna will explain the mechanics behind it. Then I can explain a little bit why it's happened, when it's happened. This is nothing that's happened in the last couple of years. This has been going on for a long, long, long time. And we're finally doing what the audit report says. And they basically told us, you know, we should have been doing this a long time ago. This is to put us in accordance with the generally accepting accounting principles. So, Ann?
Yes, good evening. So, as doing the audit, this was my first time of going through the audit. There were things that came up to my attention and to the auditor's attention, and these are one of them. So, in the city of Riverview, we have a concentration account, which is just one bank account. So every dollar that comes into the city of Riverview goes into that account. So it'd be like your account at home. You know, everyone's got these accounts, you got these different accounts. And over the past several years, let's take the landfill, for example. And I just want to let everyone assure you that the expenses and revenues were recorded in the proper fund. The thing about government funds is they are all separate and identical. You know, they're all separate and they're kept separately for a reason because they're all used for those specific purposes. So, for instance, the landfill. Why are we borrowing or internally borrowing? So this is all a cash flow. So in some funds we have a lot of cash flow, in other funds we don't, just depending on seasons, like especially golfer seasons. Sometimes the money's more, sometimes it's less. But from my observation with the landfill, I went back and said, why is this happening to such a great extent? And the reason for it, right, wrong, or indifferent, since 2015, when we started building Cell 7, we've taken over $21 million out of cash. I don't know why it wasn't bonded. We bond for little. So I don't know what happened over the years, but it's clear that when that started going down, we were taking it out of cash. Of course, making us cash poor, right? Because the cash wasn't there. So there are certain equipment that has been financed. I just don't understand or know why it wouldn't have been financed, and we would not be talking today. We would not be in that situation. As far as the golf course, this is pretty common. This has been going on for 20 years. We know golf makes money in some years, and some years it doesn't. We got to remember these are balances as of June 30th. So right now, if I go to the landfill, actually the landfill has been cutting down their expenditures. Their balance is lower than that. And the same as in the golf course, this was just a number at that one day. We had to cut it off. But over the years in the golf course, this has been going on for 20 years. It's just an accumulation of expenditures over revenues. So that was brought to the auditor's attention. We all know that we are in a deficit reduction plan. And this is kind of, I'm being transparent by bringing this out and saying, you know what, we do have issues here. We need to make the board aware of it. We need to have a plan of action to make these corrections. And we're not going to do it if we don't know that, the treasurer's using cash to cover their cash. Cash is not a problem because, right, we do have cash flow, but that these two funds are in a deficit situation that we need to concentrate on. And that's really why it was brought to the attention that we're here to be transparent. As he said, we're making this as transparent as we can. We know we have some issues and we know we need to work on them. And the state's looking at us too. So this is just helping that whole position that we have a plan of attack. And if we can't pay it back, then we're going to come back and say we can't pay it back. This is common. The interest rate is about 2%. I've done this with the golf course in Grosse Ile. It's just an interfinancing. We have the money here. Why would I go on the market and pay a higher interest rate? So over the time, actually, we were borrowing the water money, but we weren't paying an interest. But we were not using it. It was cash flow. It wasn't like we were using their money and never intend to give it back. It was recorded. We're just bringing it to the forefront. So I hope that helps explain it a little bit more, but it's just a plan of attack that we are taking it seriously and moving in an action that we need to start paying it back.
Your Honor, to Ms. Ganaga as well, just for the record, the golf course has been cash flowing last few years. This goes back to like 2008, I think.
Yeah, it's 20
So
years.
this has been a long time balance that should have been recorded back then. So we've put the line in the sand, and I'm going to tell you that those balances will be less going forward, and, we have a plan to work out of that. So this is nothing different than I told council last year, but now we're putting form to it. It's actually a recorded note. It's included in the financial statements, and it can be seen by everybody. So that's my update.
So just the simple way to put it is, we're borrowing money from ourselves as opposed
Correct.
to going to the open market. So we pay 2% as opposed to 4 or 5 or whatever it is. I just have a quick comment on the purchase of equipment at the landfill. Haven't we always, Councilman Workman, help me out, didn't we always try to pay cash if we could for a vehicle?
Your Honor, what we always did was we put enough money away
From the capital improvement account?
from the capital improvement to pay for that. And if you recall, I kept raising a concern about that. But apparently we weren't putting away as much as we should have been.
Okay, thank you. Anything else to add there, Jeff?
No, I think that pretty much answers the question. And one other thing that I'll add to that, Ann is already broking, we talk about this concentration cash account. So if someone pays a boat ramp fee, or if they pay a tipping bill, or if they pay a dog tag or a permit fee, it all goes in the same account. Well, we're going to start breaking that out. And she started with the tax payments
And the water.
and the water. So we're going to get to where everybody has their own account and their own balance so that we can physically make any of the transfers we have to, so we know exactly when it happens and where we're at. So that's another, I know Mr. Sunset missed that, and he'd love to hear that, so I hope that he can hear that recorded later.
Thank you. Well, I'll ask for a roll call then.
Your Honor.
I'm sorry, we need a motion.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I know there's some new council members, and I believe they might be a little apprehensive on voting on this without a longer discussion. So I actually would like to make a motion to put it into a study session to allow them to get a little more up to speed as opposed to voting on it tonight.
I support that.
Any further discussion on that motion? Roll call.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
No.
Councilmember Webb?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Prey?
Yes.
Okay, it's removed. Let's move to the next study session. 10.1, approve a performance resolution, performance and indemnification commitment for government bodies for the state of Michigan, annual permit for work on state highways. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Ganaga, supported by Councilman Webb. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins.
Yes.
10.2, approve performance resolution for government bodies for the Wayne County Annual Pavement Restoration Permit, annual maintenance, work in right-of-ways permit, and annual special events permit.
So moved, Your
Council's
Honor.
pleasure.
Support.
I miss who made the motion. All right. Motion by Councilman Webb, supported by Councilwoman O'Neill. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift.
Yes. 10.3, approve resolution in support of the annual Riverview Hall of Fame Awards ceremony as sponsored by the Riverview Hall of Fame and Scholarship Foundation. What's council's
So moved.
pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman O'Neill, supported by Councilman Webb. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb.
Yes.
10.4, adopt resolution authorizing the comptroller to serve as the authorized individual for UBS Financial Services, Inc. on behalf of the city of Riverview. It's council's pleasure.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Ganaga, supported by Councilman Robbins. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yeah.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman.
Yes.
Adopt resolution 10.5. Adopt a resolution authorizing the comptroller to serve as the authorized individual for Multi-Bank Securities, Inc. on behalf of the city of Riverview.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Ganaga, supported by Councilman Webb. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga.
Yes.
11.1, approve ambulance proposal and agreement for the purchase of one Braun Chief XL Stock Unit 9343 ambulance for $394,701 and approve a 10% down payment of $39,470 to secure the purchase. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Ganaga, supported by Councilwoman O'Neill. Any discussion?
Mayor, question.
Councilman Webb.
This is budget for '24, correct?
Jeff.
Your Honor, we, as long as it's taking to get these ambulances, we're going to put a down payment with the hope we're going to have it before the end of the budget year, but this will be included in next year's budget if it isn't received. However, we have over $600,000 of ARPA funds that we have to spend before December 31st, 2024. So we do have a funding source, if that's what you're asking me. It isn't budgeted because you can see the reason that, well, you will see in this year's audit why we didn't use as much money this year as last year, the previous years, because of the lack of capital improvements plan. But these are worn-out ambulances, and we need one, and we're not going to trade it in because we're going to leave the other two as backup. And then if we somehow find a way to buy the second new one, we will upgrade the best one and keep that. So there's a plan to this, but you know, when we're down, we only run one ambulance, and that's not good either for our city, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Yes.
11.2, approve purchase order for Opta new Carrier 30 XHC water-cooled chiller replacement unit for City Hall for $318,100. It's council's pleasure.
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman Ganaga, supported by
Support.
Councilman Webb. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey.
Yes.
12.1, authorize first reading by title only of proposed ordinance number 743 to amend the Code of Ordinances to the City of Riverview, Section 66-3, to ratify and approve amended traffic control order number 397. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilman O'Neill, supported by Councilman Prey. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins.
Yes.
Actually, read the ordinance. I'm trying to see if we got it. Do you have it in front of you?
I don't, I have the title.
Okay.
Sorry,
I'm just looking to see if we got it in the backup.
I believe it.
All right. Remind me, Randy, just read the top, or Carrie. Is it just the top? Yeah, that would be it then. Yeah. Mhm. Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That's all right.
The proposed ordinance number 743 to amend the Code of Ordinances of the City of Riverview, Section 66-3, to ratify and approve amended traffic control order number 397.
We have no other business, or actually, other than business. Anything council wants to bring up at this time? Seeing none, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, I'd like to, I know public comment, Mr. Sunset asked about the legal fees. I'm not sure what report he's reading, but the legal fees are in the quarterly report. There's a category that says city attorney, legal fees, and there's a total, and that talks about the different litigation type services. There's also a line item in the land preserve that says legal fees. There's also a line item in the water department's budget that says legal fees. So I don't want it seem that we're hiding anything. Those reports are exactly as we have cut checks for. We're being as transparent as possible. I'm answering questions. So just to set the record straight, the legal fees are in the quarterly reports.
Okay.
They're not missing that.
All right. With that, I will look for a motion to adjourn in the closed
Mr.
session
Mayor?
for discussion related. Oh,
I apologize. Before we adjourn, I wanted to bring up something. I don't want to miss the opportunity with Mr. Camilleri here. Since the election, I've been looking more and more into the Arkema site. Obviously, this is going to take a community to help work on this issue. Having Mr. Camilleri here, I would strongly advise every single resident, and if we have to do this at every meeting, as absolutely no problem. For years, you've heard Debbie Dingle and others say that Arkema is a top priority. Cleaning up this area is a top priority. How many of you have ever had a job where your boss tells you this is a top priority, and then 5, 6, 7 years later, you still haven't completed that project? I would strongly suggest every single resident, every single council member, the mayor, everybody who has an interest in this city, contact Debbie Dingle's office. Explain to them that this site is not going to be forgotten about. We do not want those dredging tailings put on the land of the city of Riverview. There is no plan
after they dredge that whole area in front of BASF and drop those tailings in front of Riverview, there's no timetable. Are any of you willing to let this stuff sit on our land after it's already been toxic? I just wanted to leave with this. Make sure you're contacting your state reps, every single one of you. I promised action. I know a lot of us are very passionate about getting this done, but I need every resident to get on board. Start contacting Debbie Dingle's office. Start contacting Mr. Camilleri's office. Explain to them we are not willing to allow this to languish any longer. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I will remind council and the public too that we are working with Debbie Dingle's office. We're working with the coordination with the DCC, the City of Wyandotte, Ecorse, Trenton, River Rouge, along with ourselves through the DCC on doing exactly what you suggested doing, put some pressure on, I'll start with pressure on the EPA. And my opinion is if that's a target, EPA is a target, but Debbie Dingle and Darren Camilleri, they're tools we get to that target. So you can call their offices. I would encourage that if you want to do that also. But I just want to let people know we're not doing nothing. And that was the perception all during the campaign. We're not doing anything, and that's just absolutely not true. So we have to work with the elected officials we have, and if we can work as a team with some new members here, I think it's going to help us considerably. So that's just, I'll leave it at that.
Mayor, may I add something?
Councilman Webb.
In Congresswoman Dingle's letter to EPA, she requested that they provide a representative to have a stakeholder meeting. And in the response from Administrator Shore, she did say that there would be a stakeholder meeting. I've reached out to Kirsten Safakis from the EPA, who is the, for lack of a better term, community engagement coordinator, and she is looking into that. And my hopes is that we will get somebody from the EPA office down here to hopefully hold a town hall in Riverview, not only about the Arkema property, but some of the other brownfields as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Robbins.
I got a few calls about a representative of Ms. Dingle that was here a little while back, and they got some information about the dredging and like what the future plan could be, and I just think it kind of made everyone a bit uneasy, you know, the whole plan to, instead of taking it elsewhere, to put it here. I'm not sure if that's even a plan yet. This is, you know, just what I've been hearing, so I think that's probably why communications, whether it was heard correctly or not, it was just a big issue, you know, and they were concerned. At least that's the way that it was interpreted. So I think people are just trying to make sure that that's not an option whatsoever. You know, it's going to be bad enough once that stuff gets stirred up, let alone setting it down here. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of clarify where I think a little bit of the outrage is coming from. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. I would add that they're not putting it here. The original plan was, and this was a plan from years ago, to use the Arkema property along the river as a staging for the dredging. Now, I know there's opinions, should it happen or not. So, you know, we can have our opinion known to the EPA, but don't let anybody think they're going to put it here and leave it here. That was never the plan. So just the question of how it gets dredged, does it get barged down to Point Muley or wherever it goes, or does it get sent by truck or rail or however. But the plan was to use the Arkema property as a staging area and then clean up that area. Because I know we've had some former council people wanted the Arkema property cleaned up, as everybody does, but then it just get contaminated again once they dredge the river. So I think the plan was if we allowed them to use that, not that I don't think it's up to us even to allow them or not allow them, they're gonna use it if they want. But we can let our opinions be known to the APA. So and we'll move forward with that. And I'm glad you guys are on to you know, you want to take that lead. That's great. And then when we get to our committee structure here, there are two two committees through the DCC. One's like a small business strategy meeting, and the other one is actually related to the the DCC received, I think it was a $1.3 million grant to get us through the studies and the town halls and those types of things. It'll be all the way up to what happens to the property. This money doesn't include cleanup, but includes all the processes and the things you have to get there to get it cleaned up. And I'd like to talk reality here. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next year. I'll probably be long gone by the time that stuff gets cleaned up. But this is how we get started. You know, we'll do what we need to do to get to that point. Anybody else? And I'll look for a motion to adjourn in a closed session for discussing related collective bargaining and pending litigation from Councilman Workman.
I'll make that motion.
Is there support?
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Webb?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Prey?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes. Let the record show that we adjourned at 7:46.